Team that we're overlooking, I'm sure you know this, is Purdue sitting there. You would think they would be in line, but with the injury to Robbie Hummel, it'll be interesting to see how the Pulsars handle them, and eventually, depending on how the Boilermakers play, how they're seeded when the NCAA tournament seedings and selections come out on Selection Sunday, just over a couple of weeks away. You know, in the Mountain West, they have their version of the Big East game tonight. New Mexico and BYU, head-to-head, conference in the regular season at stake. First matchup between top 15 teams in Mountain West history. Closing minutes of the game, Los Lobos up by 1. Darrington Hobson's an outstanding player.
He is the player for New Mexico. 6'7", 6'8", small forward, can shoot threes, put the ball on the floor. He's their best player.
Lobos had a couple of really tough turnovers late. Reese Gary lost that one. Michael Lloyd finished it. Game tied at 80 after the Cougars have been down by 4. Now, after the play, look at Jonathan Tavenari and Hobson get into a little altercation. Jackson Emery had to restrain Tavenari, and I mean, you wanted him to get control of himself. Tie game, less than a minute to go. Officials get there talking it over with the two coaches, Dave Rose, Steve Alford. And afterwards, Hobson wanted to have the handshake, and Tavenari wanted nothing to do with it. Back to the game. Gary. How about A.J. Hardiman on the offensive glass, J.B.?
Hardiman is an outstanding offensive rebounder. Actually, New Mexico as a team, especially with Hobson and Hardiman, gets a lot of second chances.
Cougs down by 2. Hobson coming up with a block. He did a little bit of everything, and it's worth another look. This guy's an all-around player. First season Division I, and New Mexico hangs on to win it 83-81, and Tavenari not done. You see in the post-game handshake line as we follow him, Steve Alford didn't really want to shake hands, and there's some words exchanged between BYU player and the Lobos head coach. New Mexico wins a highly intense game. You've seen a lot of them. Give me some context and comparison to how good New Mexico, BYU are, as opposed to, say, the teams we're seeing play tonight.
Well, I think the teams we're seeing tonight are a little bit stronger, but New Mexico and BYU are competitive with those teams. I think that the Mountain West as a conference has to do one important thing to gain respect across the country. They got to start winning the NCAA tournament. That's really, I think we have to be beaten over the head with the NCAA tournament stick. And wins in the tournament is what captures everybody's attention. And even with all the technology that we have, every game's on TV, we've all got satellite and all that. I'm not sure that everybody's watching all these games. Those are two really good basketball teams, but until they win in the tournament, BYU has not won in the tournament in a long, long time. We're not going to give them the attention they deserve.
You know, I really like New Mexico. I think this is a team, Jay, that can win some games in the NCAA tournament. You talked about Darrington Hobson. He does everything, leads the team in points, rebounds, assists. It was so great to watch him control the game on the offensive end. He can get into the lane. He understands when to be aggressive offensively, when to pass the basketball. He stepped up defensively and blocked the shot. Dyrese Gary is a point guard that can get the ball in the middle and can score. And A.J. Hardiman, they had 13 offensive rebounds. The only thing for New Mexico is they don't have a lot of size. Their tallest guy is 6'8". So when you play teams like Syracuse and Villanova, that's where they can get exposed.
But let's say this, they are well coached. Steve Alford's done a great job with this team. And two things about them. They are 6-0 against ranked teams. I said 6-0 against ranked teams. And the other factor is this. When you look at what they did, you win at BYU, you can beat teams and win. I've coached at BYU. It's a tough place to win, and Alford got it going today against that home winning streak of BYU, Bob.
Well, you know, I think one thing we forget about as far as the Mountain West is concerned is New Mexico, Utah, BYU have for years and years and years had really good basketball teams. And they've all, at some point or another, made a real inroad into the NCAA tournament. It isn't like it's just a new league formed with teams that are trying to make a light in college basketball. They've got teams that have been there for a long time.
Had two teams have 26 wins on the season, and now New Mexico has 27. New Mexico atop the Mountain West. Those teams are trying to improve.